I'm 17 and I just left my baby at a fire station last night. I know it sounds awful, but please hear me out. I found out I was pregnant when I was 16, and I hid it from everyone, my parents, my friends, even the baby's father. I was so scared and didn't know what to do. My dad works abroad and is only home 3 months out of the year, and my mom works nights. They're super strict and would have freaked out if they knew. I wore baggy clothes and pretended I was gaining a little weight from stress eating. Luckily, it worked. I stayed out of social situations as much as I could and even faked a stomach flu a few times to avoid questions. I kept thinking I could handle it, but when my baby girl was born, reality hit me hard. I had no idea how to take care of her. Every time she cried, I felt like a failure. I love her so much, but I felt completely lost and overwhelmed. The pregnancy itself was like living a double life. I would go to school and act normal, then come home and secretly read parenting blogs and watch YouTube videos about taking care of a baby. I even started eating healthier and taking vitamins without letting my parents know. My mom almost caught on once when she noticed I was skipping my favorite junk foods, but I made up some excuse about wanting to be healthier. I thought I could handle it all, that once she was born, I'd just figure things out. But I was so wrong. As my due date got closer, I was living in constant fear. Every day felt like a countdown to a disaster I couldn't stop. I spent my nights crying in my room, trying to muffle the sound so my parents wouldn't hear. When I went into labor, I lied and told my mom I was sleeping over at a friend's house. Instead, I drove myself to a small clinic a few towns over, terrified and alone. I gave birth in the cold, sterile room, with no one by my side. The nurse asked if there was someone she could call, but I lied and said no. I couldn't let anyone know. When I brought her home, I hid her in my room and tried to keep her quiet so my mom wouldn't find out. With my dad away and my mom working nights, I thought maybe I could manage, but I was drowning. I had no idea how to be a mother. Every time she cried, I felt like I was breaking into pieces. I knew I couldn't keep her, but the thought of giving her up was killing me. I heard about safe haven laws and how you can leave your baby at a fire station, no questions asked. I kept thinking about it and finally, last night, I drove to the nearest fire station. It was so late, and I was shaking the whole time. I put her in a basket with a blanket and a note explaining her birthday and that she's healthy. I kissed her goodbye and rang the bell, then ran back to my car and drove off. I cried the whole way home and barely slept. I don't know if I did the right thing. Part of me feels relieved because I know she'll be taken care of and have a better life than I could ever give her right now. But another part of me feels like the worst person in the world for abandoning her. I'm living with this enormous guilt and fear that I can't talk to anyone about. I feel like I'm stuck in a nightmare, and I don't know how to wake up. I just needed to get this off my chest. Has anyone else ever done something like this? How do you get past the guilt? Update 1: It's been 3 months since I left my baby at the fire station. Every day has been a mix of relief and crushing guilt. I've managed to graduate high school, and I'm planning to start college in the fall. I've thrown myself into studying and work, trying to distract myself, but she's always on my mind. I finally told my best friend what happened. She was shocked but supportive. It felt good to finally talk to someone about it. She helped me realize that I made the best decision I could at the time, even if it still hurts. I've also started seeing a therapist. It's helping a bit, but the guilt is still so heavy. I wonder every day how my baby is doing, if she's happy, if she's loved. I've started looking into ways to find out what happened to her, even though I know I'm supposed to let go. I can't help it. I just want to know she's okay. I called the fire station anonymously to see if they could tell me anything, but they said they couldn't give out information. It was heartbreaking, but I understand why. The nights are the hardest. I dream about her sometimes, and it feels so real. I wake up crying, missing her so much. My therapist says it's part of the process, that I need to give myself time to heal. I've been reading more about safe haven laws and how many babies find loving homes through them. It gives me a bit of comfort, but the guilt is still there. I don't know if I'll ever forgive myself, but I'm trying to take it one day at a time. Update 2. It's been 2 years since that night, and my life has changed in ways I never imagined. I'm now in my second year of college, studying social work. I want to help kids and families so no one else has to go through what I did. A few months ago, I found out that my baby was placed with a foster family and later adopted. I couldn't get her out of my mind, and with the support of my therapist and my best friend, I decided to try to get her back. I know it's a long shot, but I need to try. I've spent the past year fighting for custody. I've been working with a lawyer and gathering all the evidence I can to prove I can provide a stable and loving home for her now. I've grown so much and I'm determined to make things right. I've even reconnected with the baby's father. He was shocked to learn the truth but has been supportive and wants to be involved in her life too. We've been attending parenting classes together and preparing for the possibility of having her back in our lives. The legal process has been exhausting and emotionally draining. I've had to relive that night over and over, explaining why I did what I did and showing how I've changed since then. The social workers and judges have been tough but fair. They need to be sure I'm ready, and I understand that. It's just so hard waiting, not knowing what will happen. I've also had to face my parents and tell them everything. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. My dad was furious at first, but my mom surprised me. She was heartbroken but said she understood why I felt like I had no other choice. They're both trying to support me now, which means more than I can say. To anyone out there who's been through something similar, please know you're not alone. The guilt might never fully go away, but you can find ways to make amends and move forward. I'm still on that journey, but I'm hopeful for the first time in a long while. Thank you to everyone who has supported me and shared their stories. It's made a world of difference. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm fighting with everything I have to bring my baby girl back into my life. No matter what happens, I know I'm doing everything I can. If you're reading this and you're in a similar situation, please reach out for help. It's okay to admit you need it. We can get through this together. Update 3. It's been 3.5 years since I left my baby at the fire station, and so much has happened. The custody battle was long and grueling. Despite all my efforts and the changes I've made in my life, the court ultimately decided that she should stay with her adoptive family. I was devastated, feeling like I had failed her all over again. But then, something amazing happened. The foster parents, who adopted her, reached out to me. They said they understood how much I loved her and wanted the best for her. They offered to let me have visitation rights, allowing me to be a part of her life. I couldn't believe it. They were willing to give me a chance to know my daughter and for her to know me. The first time I saw her again, my heart felt like it was going to burst. She was so beautiful, and seeing her happy and healthy brought tears to my eyes. The foster parents, now her adoptive parents, have been incredibly kind and supportive. We've been working together to make sure our daughter feels loved and secure. Visiting her has been both wonderful and bittersweet. Every moment I spend with her is precious, and I cherish our time together. We play, read stories, and just enjoy being around each other. I've also built a good relationship with her adoptive parents, and we've developed a co-parenting arrangement that works for all of us. I've continued my studies and will be graduating soon with a degree in social work. I plan to dedicate my career to helping children and families in crisis. My experiences have given me a unique perspective and a drive to make a difference. Leaving my baby is the biggest mistake of my life. The guilt and regret will always be a part of me. I hope I can channel it to save others from making the same mistake.